morning, and thank you very much for joining us this morning. I am Yori Folari. Well, President Buhari's special envoy to South Africa has returned and indeed has delivered the response to the president, and the president has begun to act. First of all, people were thinking that maybe the situation was such that when we heard that Air Peace had volunteered a plane to bring back willing Nigerians, maybe people didn't take it as seriously as it now appears to be. Well, Abike Dabiri has since been speaking. She's chair of the diaspora, Nigerians in diaspora, institution. And she says that planes will be going there between today, tomorrow, and maybe day after tomorrow, bring them back in two sets, the 640 Nigerians that have registered. So it looks like this is not going to be very much like it was before. Nigeria is insistent this time that we have to really try to get to the bottom of this situation of incessant and recurring attacks against Africans living in South Africa, including Nigerians. And because we are maybe many, we're a sizable population in there, most of us doing regular stuff, from university lecturers to all sorts of professionals. The place is full of Nigerians that are helping out there. But the ordinary people are getting the crappy end of the stick when these violent things happen. So we'll be looking at, of course, because we've suffered so much, because shops of Nigerians, car lots of Nigerians, which were highly visible, no doubt, they've been attacked, and it's not for the first time. And so, we'll be finding out the implication of that. Mukhtar Mohammed, stockbroker and financial analyst, is one of our guests this morning. Thank you very much, as always, for coming on.
Good morning, Nigerians. Good
Indeed. Our pleasure for you to come. Dr. Fasi Yusuf, lawyer and communications consultant, thank you, as always, for also being on the program.
Always my pleasure.
Indeed. Yeah. We've been hitting this, for all of last week. There wasn't a day we didn't speak about the South African crisis. And well, here we are now that there's more to sort of glean from it. Now, the business angle of it, there are many Nigerians. I don't know if most Nigerians in the place are business people, but I was just alluding to the fact that there are all sorts of experts in Nigeria, along with other in South Africa, along with other African nationals. The universities especially, I think I was reading something, there are no less than, is the figure, I'm not sure if it was 17 or 22 lecturers in the South African university system. That gives you an indication of the real Nigeria population, if you're going to not judge by distortions, aberrations, if you're not going to judge by that. So the whole point about, there are Nigerians that have, there are some shady practices. Even the president had said that we will address those between us. We will address that aspect of it. But we've just got to come out of this thing about tarring every Nigerian black. Now, Mukhtar, could you just, I wonder if you've been able to sort of watch, put together, no matter how unscientifically, something of a figure of what might have been lost to both nations since this crisis erupted.
It's huge. It's very huge. Roughly, we're looking about, between both nations, about $600 million lost within this short period of time. We're talking about looting both in Nigeria and also in South Africa. We are not just talking about what is happening in South Africa. We're talking about looting that happens in ShopRite here in Lagos, and also other businesses of Nigerians that were looted in South Africa also.
But I got the impression that the police they stepped in quickly and dispersed, and I don't know if one can really talk about looting in Nigeria.
There was. I have my facts.
Okay.
There was
some looting.
Some looting in some areas, especially in the Aja area of Lagos, the ShopRite in that place. I know of a friend that deals on wristwatch that lost over 600 gold wristwatch in that place. I'm talking about.
That was the kind of thing.
I know, it's not that I'm just saying it. I know him
And an interesting thing, this point you're making, your friend, is he a South African or a Nigerian?
It's in Nigeria.
Well, there you go.
It's in Nigeria. It's in Nigeria.
You,
So, but when you look at the Nigerians' losses in South Africa, I was talking to my friend in South Africa, he's telling me that it's huge. Some of those businesses will take a lot of time for them to recover, especially most of the car dealers in South Africa are Nigerians. Most of the people that spare vehicle spare parts in South Africa are Nigerians. Most of the people that deal in common trading in goods and services in South Africa are Nigerians.
but not excluding things like second-hand clothing.
Clothing, all those things, that was a good and services. They are all Nigerians. So when you look at the figure, when you're talking about Africa, in terms of trade volume between Nigeria and South Africa, both of us are the highest trade partner in Africa. You were talking about aviation, you're talking about telecommunication, you're talking about goods and services, you're talking about import and export. We lost so much over this crisis.
Okay, and firstly, I think the point has been made from the presidency that, look, no, let's not be modest about the matter. Between South Africa and Nigeria, we really have to see ourselves rightly as leaders in South Africa. I mean, in Africa. And this situation that has become apparently intractable, yes, almost like intractable. And here we are, we're supposed to be the leaders of Africa. We need each other. It's maybe that's what's responsible for Nigeria taking a sort of discreet tone about this. Nigeria has not been emotionally about it. They've been professional. They've been sort of saying, instead of saying Nigeria, they always say Africans, including Nigerians that have been victims of this.
Yes, we must know that Africa is the cornerstone of Nigerian foreign relations, foreign affairs. Since independence, don't forget that Nigeria was one of the countries that engineered the formation of African unity, the African Union, and what have you. And if you look at the contributions of Nigeria to the emancipation of South Africa, modern South Africa, from slavery, from colonialism, and other southern African states, then our contributions have been quite enormous. And to most rational minds, this is not the best way to repay Nigeria for all its contributions and all what we did, especially for South Africa. But the point is that I think what is happening now is a leadership problem, especially on the part of South Africa, because most of their leaders have been those engineering the violence, including the present president and the Minister of Defense and even the Interior Minister. All of them are guilty. And I think Nigeria can go beyond what is happening now. And report these people to African Union, especially the court in, I think, Arusha or something, and also at The Hague, because these are genocidal acts. Because we do not decide what is happening. And in any case, we cannot continue to massacre a group of people, not only Nigerians, but other countries,
Exactly.
simply because the South Africans, especially the lower elements among them, are mostly lethargic, mostly inconsequential. They are not ready to work and all the rest. So when they see people who are hustling positively, they see them as being there to take away their bread and butter. And whereas somebody disturbs them, nobody stops them. And if you go by the African Union treaty, everybody is free to move around.
Exactly.
Everybody is free to move around. And in any case,
exactly
even if you cannot take the laws into your own hands, there are legal process to follow. If somebody is an illegal immigrant, if somebody is perceived to be a criminal, there are options, there are processes to be adopted, not jungle justice.
Yes.
In 2019.
Now, the interesting thing here is that just about all the mainstream channels coming out of South Africa commenting on this particular unfortunate incident are fully contrite. You know, they accept that this is embarrassing. This is not us. It doesn't represent us. And on
But the leadership in South Africa does not believe in that.
Well,
look, the current president came in on the basis that, look, we'll deal with foreigners. And it's been echoed by the Minister of Defense, by the Interior Minister, and even by the police.
And
The way the Nigerian police reacted to the perceived looting of South African
police
interests in Nigeria was not the same way.
Okay. You mean the way we reacted
Yes.
to prevent riots, to
Yes.
prevent
They're
lootings?
not doing that. They look at Kimbo.
That has been alleged, and there is no material particular of this, I imagine, that will be unknown to our
It's not
government.
alleged. I mean, for example, now one of the TV stations has a correspondent in South Africa. I will get daily, minute by minute report on what's happening in South Africa. Which is very sad.
But our government seems to be taking, for instance, when the foreign minister was asked, look, this is serious enough to consider severing relations, he said, no. We're nowhere near that territory.
No, if it's severe relations,
we're nowhere
then
near
you are
that
closing
territory.
the doors to negotiation, discussion, arbitration, and the way forward. Because who will you be discussing with if you shut your doors against them?
And we cannot be as we are between Nigeria and South Africa and not have a communication channel.
And again, the problem with Nigeria is that I think it's high time we reviewed our diplomatic approach, the strategy in respect to our diplomacy. Yes, because most of the places we've been to...
Strategy, if not policy.
No, economic diplomacy.
Okay.
Economic diplomacy. We are still in the Gambia. We were in Sierra Leone. We were in Liberia. We were in Congo. What have we brought out? What have we been able to secure from all these places?
But Nigeria, and I think most people will accept that it's only rational. We are who we are. Nigeria is being patient with this matter. They're being firm.
No, we are docile.
Mukhtar, would you agree? Because there's so much at stake.
No. I don't think I don't agree that we are being docile. I think for the first time, we've had that reaction that we've always thought that our government should react to an incident. The government came out early. Remember that before this attack, President Buhari and the president of South Africa met on the sideline in Tokyo, and they discussed the xenophobia, the attack on Nigeria, and it was even there that the president and the South African president and president agreed for a state visit sometime in October. No, I mean, it was after 1 week after that we had this xenophobia attack. But we must bring it to context that this attack is not happening all around South Africa. It's not happening in Cape Town. It's not happening in Joburg. It's happening in the Zulu Pretoria area, where this attack is prominently like more of less, and a particular ethnic group in South Africa trying to attack black in those areas, and those are in the Pretoria area. And that is why you heard their permanent ruler, Bulizene Zulu, was telling them that,
the Zulu King.
The Zulu King, the KwaZulu Zulu was telling them that, look, we owe especially Nigeria a lot for what they have done for us, not we. And remember that when he was making that statement, some of those youths walked out of him and went to the street and started violent. Now, I agree with the fact that the government of South Africa have not done well.
Well, it's interesting that little part you spoke about, the king of the Zulu King. He was initially mentioned, although it must be said that he had protested. He was mentioned as having some part in this by saying that we've got to get rid of foreigners, And he had complained bitterly that, especially when it hit the press like that, and when he was fingered, that no, I was taken out of context. So and the papers, he was very angry with the papers. So it's interesting that you put it like this, which means that this must be when he sort of made himself maybe
he made himself explicit
very clear.
In this case.
So on the contrary.
Very clear. On the contrary,
okay.
Maybe, like he said, there are criminal elements, which both countries are not denying the fact that there are criminal elements, both in Nigeria. Both Nigerians and South Africans that are following this crisis. One, there's the drug cartel war in between them, the silent drug cartel war, which were boiled down to the security of the security apparatus in South Africa, not coming to terms with how to tackle these issues. Because, like Dr. rightly pointed out, the police in South Africa seems to do nothing, because I spoke to a lot of Nigerians. They said the police were just watching and seeing their property being destroyed, seeing life being attacked.
Part of the problem is that the South African foreign minister, a lady I believe, the difficult name, you know how those names are. But the South African foreign minister has also said that she doesn't see how government can stem this violence because we are an angry nation. Paraphrasing her words, I might not put them in the exact order, but that's what she put it. And that we are an angry nation. That points to a different source to this problem that we're not looking
I
at.
said it ab initio. It is what is happening in South Africa is as a result of leadership failure.
Yes.
You see, followership take a cue from the leadership. But because they've seen the handwriting on the wall and that most of their leaders, at best, they speak from both sides of the mouth. The president is against foreigners, the foreign minister against foreigners, the interior minister against foreigners, the police against foreigners, and most of the cabinet members against foreigners, except the junior political parties that are there. But they are not being listened to. And when you talk about criminality, if you go into the sociology of crime, for example, now we talk about the drug cartel, it's a function of demand and supply. What has the government done to stem the issue of demand? And what has the government done to arrest those responsible for the supply? Because it takes two to tango. If there's no demand, there won't be any supply.
But
And there's no supply,
what we
there will
have
be
is
no
a
demand.
blame game going on. Nigeria is
It's not a blame-
being saddled with every ill, well, almost every ill. You know what I'm saying?
from their own end.
From their own end.
Yeah, we are trying at this end to step, and we were trying to encourage them. And again, you discover that, look, we are in the era of globalization. You cannot stop the migration of people from one place to the other.
Exactly. And you see, I think what needs to happen, what no doubt our whole diplomatic efforts and all of that and all the negotiations that are going to come, I guess what needs to happen at the end of the day is that the South African authorities, the government in South Africa, has to indicate that this is not on at all and government does not condone it, does not support it, and quite frankly that it's not going to be acceptable. Now, that is what most observers have not seen clearly.
What I want I want my country to bite.
I think
To teach them a lesson.
If we listen
Okay,
to what the special envoy said,
yes,
not quoting the president of South Africa, but quoting the president of maybe quoting what the president of South Africa told him. Even a report that was playing on press yesterday is that the president of South Africa said he's embarrassed.
yes.
He said he's embarrassed by what is happening. He's un-African. That was the word that the special envoy gave to Mr. President. That's what the president of South Africa said to him.
Yes.
Now,
And they don't like the word xenophobia.
they don't want the word xenophobia.
Yes.
No, in any case, it's a misuse of words.
It's a misuse of word. They feel so. But now, let's look at it in terms of businesses, in terms of who benefits, in terms of maybe the foreign minister. We must come to that the largest shareholder of MTN Africa, which come out to be MTN Nigeria, is the current president of South Africa. He has huge shares there. So he cannot be saying foreigners should leave his country while his MTN is busy expanding in foreign nations. And most of their revenue that comes from them are from the foreign nation. So he can't say, oh, we are against foreigners, because some of these things were quoted out of, you just like you say, maybe it comes with a slogan like what we say, Donald Trump came say, American first.
Yes.
And everybody say, look, he's fighting everybody. But the Americans there are saying, look, we don't have jobs like we used to have. And he said, look, I want to bring back those jobs to you. So it all depends on which angle he's saying foreigners. Now, like I and you were saying before the program, that the average South African has gone through what we call slavery. They are mentally not fit and mentally feel that they are entitled to everything. The entitlement mentality. They feel that at the end of apartheid, their life will be better than those, they will become synonymous with the white people. The shanties will be destroyed, will be allowed to go to school, they will have good jobs. They just felt all those things will fall on their table. They never develop themselves. Then they see foreigners come in there look at the job they can do, begin to do it, and begin to prosper. And they begin to say, look, for the white people, we can leave them. And like these foreigners are taking the job that was supposed to be ours. So it's an entitlement mentality.
Look, you see, in South Africa, the preponderance of the land there is still owned by the white. The diamond business is dominated by the white. The current president has a lot of shares, not only in MTN, but in the mining industry. So if employers would look for those who add value to their operations, if South Africans are not adding value to their operations and they are lazy, intellectually, mentally, then those who are ready to do the job, of course, they should do the job.
But when people make those sounds, South Africans predominantly work in the mines, and that's no easy job. We see architectural pictures of South Africans from back in the bad days.
Yes.
Even today, you go to the platinum mines, you won't see any expatriates in there. They're going to be South Africans. So when we talk about them being
the expatriates, those who are
in the management cadre.
Yes,
in the management cadre.
Of course, you don't expect an expatriate now to be involved in the digging of this, or going on the underneath.
Oh, so why do we talk about them being lazy when?
No, when we say lazy, we're talking about a few.
Okay.
We're talking about a few. Like when you tell Nigeria to be corrupt.
When you say Nigeria is corrupt, it's not everybody.
It's everybody.
So, but the problem seems to be, from what the commentary I'm hearing, that South Africans, the ordinary South African, is not tooled to take advantage of what's going on today. He's not well tooled. Unlike the foreigners that come in Nigeria, including Nigerians, Zimbabweans, Liberians, and everybody, we come in and there's already a hustle mentality. There's a hustle mentality of what can we do, what can we make work here?
These people engage in violence in the 8 actions. They have refused to learn, and they have refused to benefit from the departure
because of the entitlement mentality
of the colonialists. So the past is still haunting them, and they believe that they can only fend their anger on foreigners, especially Nigerians, Pakistanis, Zimbabweans, and what have you.
Well, the word especially that you just put in there,
yes,
on foreigners, especially Nigerians, should that word really be in there? Is it not just foreigners? And is it just not an unfortunate coincidence that we happen to be one of the more visible foreigners?
No, many things in our, we account for that. I mean, look at the population of Nigeria. We're talking about 200 million.
Yes.
About 200 million.
But that is reflected in how many of us are there. Yes. So why I'm saying that, is it against Nigerians, or they've taken the misinformation that the foreigners are responsible for our situation, and the most visible foreigner, surely in terms of number and frequency of where you see him, is going to be a Nigerian.
But we also said again that this crisis, after the investigation, was not started by a Nigerian issue. It was started between a South African and a Tanzanian. So we need to
exactly.
So that's and the chairman of the Diaspora Commission, Honorable Abike Daberi, said to the House, and even the chairman of the House Committee on Nigerian Diaspora, said that no Nigerian was killed in this current current violence, this current xenophobia that happened. No Nigerian was killed.
What was the context in which you said that?
Well, it's talking in the context of the current violence that happened
in the past years.
1 week.
Because in the past, going back to June,
yes,
we just had this lady insurance
but again, when you look
murdered.
Murdered. We are looking at isolation. I mean, this was not as a result of mass violence.
It's an isolated case.
It's an isolated case.
Yeah.
We are looking at whereby we're talking about mass violence, like what we have in the Xenophobia attack. No Nigerian, but a lot of Nigerians' properties, business were looted.
Okay.
That is that's
a million. That's a hit.
Unfortunately, again, the South Africans, the Nigerian government is pushing for compensation for those Nigerians whose property was affected.
Yes.
And the South Africans said in their constitution, there is nothing like compensation.
In other words, we can't even go there. It's interesting.
Excuse me. They must go beyond the constitution. There is a doctrine of necessity that must be invoked. Now, it was not anticipated by the constitution.
Yes.
It has happened.
Now,
if you want to maintain cordial relations with Nigeria and other countries involved, you must compensate them. It doesn't have to be in the constitution. And I think I must give it to Abike Dabere. She's been very proactive, energetic. And if we have more of her in government, our international relations will fly to heaven.
Exactly. But I think it was the foreign minister that brought up the whole matter of reparation
Yes.
as part of his own
We had a trade agreement with South Africa and also sometime in 2000 when MTN and others, big network came to Nigeria because when they were coming out of apartheid. That trade agreement said that no South African firm can be nationalized by Nigeria. That's just to portray the fact that the current chairman of APC was trying to say...
Excuse me, you may not do that. But you can, for example now, the first thing I would have done by the president or the position to be able to influence the president will be stop South African airline from flying to Nigeria. That should be the first measure, so that they know who can bite.
I think that is going to extreme.
It's not going to the extreme.
Look,
Yeah, because we are, you know, my situation here.
I don't think it was that.
No, they cannot be treating us like that.
I don't think it's desperate. I don't think it's desperate.
They cannot be treating us that way.
No, I don't think it's desperate.
We don't decide what they are.
No, I don't think it's desperate, sir. I don't think we has gone to that point whereby it's more or less trying to
send a signal to them.
No, you don't send signals. I think the president has sent the right signal. The president has sent the right signal to them.
I had said that it looks like the Nigerian authorities are being very, very patient.
Too matured
with this situation.
No. We have to, because we need to look at the business interests of both nations.
Okay, I got to go on a break. We'll come back and we'll continue from this very point. Stay with us, please. We'll be right back. We'll include your calls. Welcome back, and we're looking at the aftermath. I mean, the special envoy of the president has been to South Africa. He's been back. The president has acted on some aspects of that whole engagement, leading to 640 Nigerians reportedly, registering to come back, in the plane that will be provided by the federal government. Even though it doesn't matter if your papers have expired or whatever your other challenges are, the embassy, I understand, and South Africa has been instructed to just make sure you get travel papers. So every Nigerian that wants to come home will be coming home. So we're looking at this, and I was saying in the other half of the program that Nigeria appears to be going about this with great patience, and you had said matured, gentlemanly. Fassi has said that he can't understand why, for example, we won't take some biting kind of an action. Don't let South African Airlines come in here. We had discussed earlier the whole matter about, do we need to sever relations? Say, yeah, that's too much. But Fassi thinks we're being too genteel in this whole matter. We're not showing that we can bite. Well, I suppose it's this whole matter about Big Brother, Nigeria needing to be seen as Big Brother. South Africa itself is no small fry. And so we want to do all that we can to preserve this in the hope that South Africa will come around and show the leadership that Fassi has been talking about, because nobody else can do this problem, can solve this problem, against the backdrop of the reported utterance of the defense minister in South Africa that we are an angry nation. And so this is why she's not too optimistic that government in itself can do anything about
stem the tide.
Can stem the tide. Now that thinking conceivably has to change. That government can, by showing that this is wrong. We're getting allegations that government there seems to be tacit support. All sorts of high-ranking people are speaking almost like for the violence. They know the politically correct thing to say is what is being said out loud, but we have a problem here. So this is not the whole matter of reparation. Fassi again has said that we can go beyond the Constitution, because replying us that way, I don't know. I'm no student of international diplomacy, but when we bring up the whole matter of reparations and you slam it down immediately, but our Constitution doesn't make any allowance for that. Well, as Fassi said, does it have to be a matter of the Constitution?
No, it doesn't have to be a matter of the Constitution. It has to be a matter of the personality of the two leaders.
Okay.
What they are able to bring to the table when they meet. So I expect that when President Buhari visits South Africa on a state visit, we could be seeing the president talking, You know, when it comes, like he said, doctrine of necessity, and also there's the executive order and a lot of things that can play in there. It has to depend on the relationship, the kind of discussion in the diplomatic side of it, on the sideline.
We're doing the gentlemanly version. We're
Well,
not doing the Trump version. We're not doing the Trump version.
You can say we are doing the gentlemanly version for now, but you don't know what is happening behind the scene.
True.
Because behind the scene, there could be a lot of work that is going on behind the scene to see.
Excuse me. No matter what you are doing,
Yes.
if you are winking in the dark, it does not really tell anybody anything.
So
Rather,
whatever it is we're doing,
this is
we
the
need to
time
know.
to embark on strategic communication, step-by-step action.
That's what I'm saying. They might be doing that. They might not be doing.
But not saying winking in the dark.
Yes,
Nobody knows you're doing it.
No.
And then the people, it's not pacifying our people there.
But in time.
But I've not taken, look, according to PKW, census have been taken and all the rest. Now, send a bill to South Africa. If they're not willing to handle it, take it to African Union. Take it to United Nations. Take it to the International Court at The Hague.
Yeah. In other words, we would have
see,
come to our own
when you look at-
conclusion that this is unfriendly action. That
No.
this is unfriendly action.
Hostile.
Hostile action that could have been avoided.
Yes.
That seems to be the point we're making.
Yes.
That this could have been avoided, South
Yes.
Africa, and it has become one too many.
Many.
It has become one too many because, like we rightly started in the program, it has become a leadership problem. Like, I have my own opinion when it comes to sending a special envoy to issues like this. I expect that if our president, if you see the president of America is trying to send a special envoy for an issue, it may be with South Korea, you see that he sent sometimes the former Secretary of State, sometimes you see some highly diplomatic people that have been involved in high-skilled diplomatic negotiation before being sent there to become like special envoy.
So the
special
stature of the messenger itself is important.
It's very important. The stature of the messenger is very important.
Okay, 1 second, please. Let me bring in Abe, who's called in from Joburg. Good morning, Abe.
Good morning, Uncle Yori.
Good morning, sir.
And good morning to the guests in the studio.
Sure.
Yeah, first and foremost, I want to make a few corrections made by Mr. Mutar. Because Mr. Mutar said the problem is not happening in Joburg, in Cape Town. That is not correct. There's a problem in Cape Town, and there's more problem in Johannesburg. Just 2 days ago, 2 people were killed in Johannesburg around 7 p.m. at night. The issue is that the problem started
2 days ago, you say?
Yeah, 2
That
days
is
ago. Yes,
after the main violence that has caused all of this. There's
Yes,
some
sir.
form of
Exactly on Sunday
continuation.
night.
Okay.
Yes. So the problem started in Pretoria before escalating to different parts of South Africa.
Okay, so you wanted to point that out, that there have
I want
been
to point that out.
fatalities.
Then, yes, another issue is that our governments are also not proactive enough to resolve this issue. Because when the 2 presidents met in Tokyo, if they have sent a very strong signal to South Africa president, then that particular thing that happened last 2 weeks Sunday wouldn't have happened at all. But because the 2 presidents are not proactive enough to resolve this matter, and the issue of these people, I don't know whether there is a particular hatred they have for us, which is sometimes is very difficult to really point at. But the truth of the matter is that we are blacks, we are Africans, and we need to love ourselves, either we like it or not.
In terms of exploring this, Abe,
Yes, sir.
you're
Yes,
a
sir.
Nigerian. In terms of exploring this a bit, when you just said this sort of hatred that the South Africans apparently have for us, referring to Nigeria, where do you experience it? Because I made the point that there are many Nigerian lecturers, Nigerians of different cadres, are working in South Africa that are away from this violence. Is that the way it is with the ordinary population? Does the ordinary population view Nigerians with suspicion and quote-unquote hatred? You, for example, as a worker, a Nigerian in South Africa, do you experience this kind of discrimination?
Uncle Yori, to be honest with you, I did not experience this kind of discrimination at all. I have never experienced it before. And where this problem is happening, I live in Johannesburg, it doesn't happen around my area at the same time. You understand my point? It doesn't happen around my area, and in fact, I feel very safe in South Africa.
So we can narrow this problem down to certain geographical areas.
Yeah, it's exactly certain geographical area. Then at the same time, I'm married to South Africa. I can also say I'm South African citizen as well.
Okay. So
you understand my point?
Do you think that factors in when there's a crisis?
I don't really think so.
Exactly.
Because also we need to be conscious of so many things. Because there are so many things also our Nigerian guys are doing that is very provocative.
Which our president has said we will be addressing. The few cases of such. The few such cases will be robustly addressed.
Yes. Then I also want to make a correction quickly as well. When they said no Nigerian died during this present attack, it's not true, sir.
No Nigerian guy. I didn't hear that.
He said it is not true
that no Nigerian died in this present attack. It's not true.
Okay.
A guy died in Polokwane. Polokwane is another state, not in Johannesburg, not in Pretoria.
Okay.
Are you listening to me?
Okay.
Yes. Then a guy also was killed in Pretoria last Sunday.
Okay.
A Nigerian guy was killed in Pretoria. Then another one was killed on Saturday evening in Festive Park, close to the airport. So I think I can point to three. So I don't like the situation why our officials will come to the national TV and be telling us no Nigerian was killed, only Nigerian shots were muted. These are not true. If they don't have information, they should ask the people who are on ground. They should not give people back home wrong information. So I know three Nigerians that are killed.
What you're saying is, I was just saying that Nigeria seems to be adopting the position of Nigeria is taking a dim view of attacks against foreigners or Africans in South Africa, including Nigerians. Notice the way I said it.
Yes.
Foreigners or Africans in South Africa, including Nigerians.
Even Asians too.
Are Asians involved in any of this? Because
yes.
No, sir. The only people are involved in this are only Africans against Africans.
There you go. Thank you very much.
The issue is the white people who dominate the economy of the country are not being attacked by the Africans.
It's important.
They are sitting on the economy of South Africa.
Okay.
The winery, the farming, they are the one involved.
Okay.
Even the mining that Mr. Dr. Faki is talking about, they are the West Africans are the one involved. They are the head of the mining.
Yeah.
The number of South African blacks are not involved, and those guys are not attacked. You understand my point?
Okay. I want to thank you very much, Abiodun. And Abe is of course the nickname that is known for Abioduns in Nigeria. So thank you very much, Abe.
You're like I said, you see, when you see some of this social disequilibrium happening, it doesn't happen from the top, but from the bottom.
Okay.
Especially those in the D and E.
Yes.
Socioeconomic
was saying that
groupings.
she doesn't see how government is going to be able to fix this.
Government should
Seeing as where it is coming from.
No.
Angry nation.
No. You see, the government can send the right signal. For example, if anything is happening in this country, especially a crisis, riot, and all the rest, government should be able to put on its thinking cap and stem it. The same thing we expect in South Africa. If the plebeians, the people at the bottom, are not happy and they want to vent their anger on foreigners, the government, as I said, is a failure of leadership. Government should be able to do things that will encourage the empowerment of the people. And where government is unable to do this, government should be able to address issues bordering on security, because it's projecting South Africa in bad light.
It is.
And it is capable of sending signals to the whole world that South Africa is not a place to be. And of course, presently now, unemployment in South Africa is about 30%.
I even thought it was in the region of 22. You said
No,
it's up to
30%. As of yesterday, when I monitored, it was 29.9%.
Wow. Mohammed in Dublin, Ireland. Good morning, sir.
Good morning, Mr. Yori.
Thank you very much for calling in. Please go ahead.
And okay, I would like to buttress what the other gentleman at the far end said, please. Mr. Bassi.
The last caller, are you talking about Abe from South Africa?
Talking about me?
No. The other gentleman.
Oh, Dr. Fassi Yusuf. Okay, what Dr. Fassi Yusuf has just been saying.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. Yes, please. Exactly what he said. Yeah, exactly what he said is what Nigeria needs at this present situation. We need to show them, not by playing a big brother or whatever in dealing with this case. No, what he said, that is a sample of what we need now. There are ways we need to show them that Nigerians are not happy with what they are doing with our citizens over
So
there.
you think the
First of
government
all,
should
by
take a more
stopping
aggressive?
their-
You think our government should take a more
Yeah.
aggressive position than has been done?
Yes, please. That is what is needed at this stage. We need to stop their airline coming and some other things, even if we're not going to be permanently stopped. We need to show them that this time we're angry with them. Look at what happened recently with Nigeria and America. Nigeria increased visa to America. What they do, immediately they increase their own. That is to show that they don't take their citizens lightly. They have a lot of investment in Nigeria, a lot of business interest in Nigeria, and all these things are happening. We that live there, we know what we are going through. Whenever anything happens to an American or a UK citizen or an Israeli citizen or an Irish citizen, the government stands immediately to show signal that they are not happy. Nigeria, the government are not supposed to do what they are doing now.
Okay.
If they say we are the giant of Africa, we're supposed to call them. Our president is not even supposed to go there. We're supposed to call them.
All right. Thank you very much for calling in, Mohammed.
That's just my contribution this morning. Excuse me, sir. Excuse me,
Yes.
sir, Mr. Yori.
Yes.
I was working in Murtala Mohammed International. I was working in Murtala Mohammed International Airport.
Yes.
When the British government impounded our Nigerian Airways in London, it was during Buhari Idiagba administration as well. We impounded the British Caledonia, plane in Lagos. And it was immediately settled. We need to show them if you're not happy, you don't need to sit up. We need to show them that you're not happy.
Okay.
And this is where this issue will be settled.
All
But South Africans are very stubborn.
Okay. Thank you very much, Mohammed, for calling in.
Aside that, we are the aggrieved party. They should placate us. I will cancel that my own president should not go there. They should come here. Honestly, until, look, this brother, Africa, would not save Nigeria. Because, look,
there must be so many advice, because this is now about
Ghana,
policy.
Ghana will trample on Nigeria. Look at what Ghana did to us. Ghana.
No,
look at what all these countries are doing to us.
They have a policy. No doubt they have a foreign affairs policy. They're putting this within that stricture.
To me, no Nigerian head of state, my own president should not go there. They should come here.
Okay.
Let's look at the context he was mentioning about the United States.
Mohammed in Ireland.
Tit-a-tat, what Nigeria. But remember that the United States government was saying that we've been talking to Nigeria for the past 18 months as regards this visa issue. It was not something they just woke up and, hey, Nigeria have increased their visa. Okay, yes, we are going to retaliate. It was something that was ongoing for a while before you tell. So for me, I think when it comes to diplomacy, we don't know what we when you sit outside, we always say that it's always easy to make those decisions. You don't know what is transpiring between both nations, what both president, I'm sure President Buhari would have been in communication with the president of South Africa since the incident happened. It would be unfortunate if we said our president had not been in communication with them. And now when you talk about sending the plane there, that's already sending the signals to them that we will not tolerate you doing that to our citizens. We are not saying that we can. You look, when I was saying about 600 million, I'm talking about even for the past 48 hours, MTN, all their offices, all their call centers, everything was shut in Nigeria. Even Standard Chartered Bank was also doing skeletal service. Those people that are working there are not South Africans.
Those are the few South African businesses that are well known.
They are well
Maybe
known.
there are some other concerns.
And most of the people that are working there are not South Africans. They are Nigerians.
This is the other problem.
Look, something plays. No, listen. Let me just a statement.
Okay.
Action and reaction are equal and opposite.
Okay.
In physics.
Well, not always. But you are saying that
most
they
times,
should be made to be.
Yes.
They should be made to be.
Yes.
Okay. Joshua Irewale, good morning.
They should pay for this.
Not that it's Mr. Irewale.
They should pay for this.
Joshua Irewale, good morning.
Good morning, sir. Good
Thank
morning
you for calling
to your guest.
Yes.
I just want you to please add this line of thought to your conversation on this matter. I would say between Nigeria and South Africa, we should understand that this is a relationship management, and there's always conflict in a relationship, even within families. Conflicts are meant to be resolved. This is not a war. Very bad things have happened. I mean, damages and all that. We're asking for collateral repatriation of people's resources that have been damaged. You don't use force to achieve that kind of a thing. So this is a diplomatic situation that I believe Nigeria is handling very well. But what I wanted to add to your conversation is this. I think back home here, I want to speak to us as Nigerians. You see, we use Nigeria when we need it. And then when we think we don't need Nigeria, we dump it. Let us ask ourselves, among the ethnic nationalities that are agitating for secession, how many of them can face South Africa alone? When we demarket ourselves as Nigeria, people say Nigeria is not good. Why do we get so many Nigerians running out of the country? Because they are selling lies to us that everywhere else is better than Nigeria. It's only Nigeria that has problems. South Africa is doing well. America is doing well. Nigerians now run to such places. Why can't we use our skill, our efforts, those abilities we use to build those places? Why can't we use them to build Nigeria?
Okay, all right.
This is our home.
Thank you very much.
Please,
as you said,
add that one to our conversation, sir.
Indeed, thank you very much.
I've said this a couple of times. You cannot stop people from migrating. This is an era of globalization. The world is in our palm, our fingers. Just get a small phone, and the world is your oyster. So nobody can stop anybody from migrating. But what you are saying is that people should be treated as human beings. We deserve some decency. Especially because these people have not learned from history, from our contributions to their emancipation.
You know, Nigerians will not go anywhere that they know that they are not welcome. I don't even think it's Nigerians. Any person will not go anywhere he know he's not going to be welcome.
Desperation will lead Nigerians to go to anywhere in the world. Wow. I've been to New Zealand, I've been to Fiji Island. Nigerians are there.
There's someone else on the line. Mazi Okorafor, good morning.
Good morning, Sir Yori. Good morning, Dr. Suga. Good morning, Mr. Motar.
Good morning.
You see, whether the investigation or comment or complaint upon complaint is not the answer. What we should be talking now is how do we welcome or receive the people willing to come back home? Like what you showed on the screen, 640. Now, the landlord, how will you help? 2, shop owners, are you ready to give them leverage? Religious leaders, the elites, our honorables, do something or say something. Now let's look at Nigeria as a country. Thank God for what Mr. Joshua said. Nigerian government should behave like President Trump. I give kudos to Trump. You saw what Trump did. Trump said, China, this whole GSM, I don't want it. Just keep it to yourself. Trump scattered the whole trade business between China and America. What happened? China have to sit up. The same Trump now dealt with Iran because he discovered that Iran was supplying ammunition to all these Al-Shabaab and named all these terrorists. What is China doing? China have now tried to sit up and think positively. Now, he has succeeded. I'm just mentioning all those 2 things. That is what Nigerian government should do, like what Dr. Yusuf said.
Yes.
What is so special about South African airlines? Stop them. Just relax. We have other airliners. At least I saw them not mention so that not be a sort of business for other airlines. There are other airlines that are ready to do what? To do business with Nigeria. Because by the time we explore other people now, they will also know. Like I used to tell people now, why was South Africa come there? They tell us DSTV. They tell us that DSTV. Look at how much they are collecting from us every day. And nobody's talking. Now look at the NCC, how much they give to South Africa. Nigerian government say, oh, but we're brother, sister. Now they just take the whole thing. That is why they have that impetus to do anything they want about Nigeria. Whether Zulu comment is not Zulu comment, it has happened. What we should be thinking about, You stop all those braggadabra. We don't want it again because Nigeria, we should also think about every day you go to Nigeria, indigenous and non-indigenous, you see battling, we should stop it. Thank you very much. Have a blessed day in Lagos.
Thank you very much, Mazi Okorafor. And I think that is where we have to leave it. We're looking at the time. And I think we can surmise that from this conversation, at least this morning, it seems that while noting the efforts of government, people still think that Nigeria is letting them get off a bit light. There's that sense. Everything has been said that we understand this is diplomacy and all of that, but people are still smarting and would feel that government could afford to at least nip someone, even if you're not going to bite it and yank some flesh off, nip somebody. Don't just leave everything and all of that. But so I want to thank you very much, Dr. Fasi Yusuf and Mr. Mukhtar Mohammed. Thank you, gentlemen, for sharing your perspectives.
Well, just that the time is too short.
Indeed. Well, anywhere...
Nigeria should remember that
we're talking about Nigeria
we still have Anyanku, we still have Gambari and others. We should assemble our best brains in the foreign affairs. Especially when there's special envoys, right? But yes. Doesn't that sound a bit like a criticism of the venerable DG of the NIA? Well, it's not a criticism. It's not a criticism. The government might have... He's not a top-notch diplomat. The government might have... He must have worked in a diplomatic cycle. He was an ambassador. He was an ambassador. He's not... He is an ambassador. He's not good enough. He styled, It's Director General of National Intelligence Agency. Ambassador Ahmed Abubakar, DG of the National Intelligence Agency. We have seasoned diplomats. We have them. Okay. We should use them. Okay. So that's our program. Please join us tomorrow. To complement Abike Dabira and Onyema's activities. For a fresh edition, Fasi is complementing part of the Nigerian policy team that he approves of. Anybody that is soft, I don't think Fasi is going to be greeting them. Thank you very much. So please join us tomorrow for a fresh edition. I'm Yori Folarin. Bye-bye for now.